Pista ng Pelikulang Pilipino is the Film Development Council of the Philippines' flagship film festival that has showcased quality Filipino films in all theaters nationwide since its outing in 2017. Now in its fourth year, and as we face a global pandemic, the PPP4 has been launched through online edition with a selection of 170 films. PPP continues its aim to provide a platform where Filipino films can connect to the wider Filipino audience through its nationwide release. Coinciding the online film festival screenings, a series of talkbacks, panel discussions, film lectures, and special events are held in PPP. The talkbacks and panel discussions aim to bring together the people behind the films featured in PPP4 to discuss and get to know more about their process in making these films. Exclusive film lectures on screenwriting, musical scoring, and more will also be conducted that filmmakers, producers, film enthusiasts, and students can take part in. To register to PPP film screenings and public events, visit our website at fdcpchannel.ph. The representation of women in the film industry is continually changing and evolving, but this development has its own challenges and learnings on and off the screen. Introducing us in this discussion is a Filipina producer who's done a few international co-productions in the Philippines. She's an alumna of Busan's Asian Film Academy, Berlinale Talents, Talents Tokyo, and IDF Academy, and has pitched projects at La Fabrique de Cinéma du Monde, Torino Film Lab, Cannes Cindefundacion's L'Atelier, IDFA Forum, and Hong Kong Asian Film Financing Forum. She has received funding for her feature films from IDFA Bertha Fund, Eddie o Cinema du Monde, World Cinema Fund, Sundance Film Institute, Doha Film Institute, Purin Pictures, Asian Cinema Fund, Hubert Ball's Fund, Vision Sud-Est, Singapore IFF, and Talents Tokyo. One of these is Aswang, a creative documentary about the drug war in the Philippines, directed by Alex Arumpak. It recently won the International Critics Prize at the 2019 International Documentary Film Festival Amsterdam and the White Goose Award from DMZ Docs. The documentary was made mostly by women. She now heads the long-form production of Globe Studios. Let's get to know more about women in the film industry with Army Kakanindin.
Hi, welcome to this panel. Years, women representation in films have been immensely increasing. This panel will look into the challenges, successes, and learnings of women filmmakers behind the camera. This talk aims to inspire young women filmmakers to channel their voice and vision and translate it to cultural and socially sound films. Films that would take the plight of women into a higher ground and will boost their role in the scene despite the overwhelming ratio of men to women filmmakers. This talk takes the wide experience of our panelists to prepare the audience on how it is to be a woman navigating their filmmaking career, both in the local and international film landscape. So, to start, let me introduce to you our panelists for tonight. First, we have Taga Islandberger. She is a multi awarded film editor, writer, director with a background in fine arts. To date, she has more than 70 film credits as editor. In 2007, she wrote and directed a short film Durog, which made it to the year's Cinemalaya Film Festival. And then the following year, she did a full-length Cinemalaya film entitled Brutus, which won 4 awards, including the jury prize. It also won 2 awards abroad, one of which is a NetPac Award, the Kidlat Tahimik Bamboo Camera Award, and earned her an Urian Best Director nomination. Her last film, High Tide, won Best Picture and 3 other awards in the To Farm Film Festival. On the side, Tara gives workshops and lectures on film editing and filmmaking. She has taught at the ABS-CBN University, Marilu Diaz-Abaya Film Institute, and Revolver Studios film workshops, among others. Tara heads and co-owns Bonfire Productions Incorporated, an editing house that specializes on film and TV post. Let's welcome Tara.
Hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to be included in this panel. Army is right. It's it's not really a problem, pero it's a ratio issue. The female number is very small compared to men, so I think we're here to increase that number. So that's all. Thank you.
Together with our other panelists. Next, we have Ilsa Malzy. Ilsa is also a film editor and a community organizer. Her editing work spans the categories of fiction features, documentary, and commercial advertising. Her most recent editorial work, the work in progress documentary Holy Craft, won the Top Prize Award at Cannes Docs 2020. Her personal experimental work with dancer Carlon Matobato and classical pianist Leroy Rodriguez is programmed in the currently running Soria International Short Film Festival. She received double nominations in the Best Editing category of the 2020 Gawad Urian Awards for the films Sila Sila, which won the Best Picture and Audience Choice Awards during the 2019 Cinema One Originals Film Festival, and Babae at Baril, which opened the New York Asian Film Festival this year. So let's welcome Ilsa Malzy.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for inviting us women to share our experiences about being filmmakers in the local industry. I'm very grateful to be here amongst these women, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, next, we have Pamela Reyes, a participant in Southeast Asian Film Lab, Berlinale Talent Campus, Fantastic Film School, Eyave Ties That Bind, and the Produau Sud Workshop. Pamela is an award-winning Filipino film director and producer. Pamela has written and directed a total of 4 short films, all of which have won and exhibited in local and international film festivals. With her knowledge in independent filmmaking since 2011, producing both short and full length films. She produced the critically acclaimed Birdshot, which made rounds in international film festival circuit and was the Philippines' official entry to the 2018 Academy Awards. Pamela has conducted workshops, labs, and mentorship with various groups and universities, including the Tokyo Film Festival and Film Development Council of the Philippines. Currently, she is producing multiple feature films with directors both local and international, and she's also developing her debut feature entitled Mysticism, which was developed at the 2019 Southeast Asian Film Lab and has won 5 major awards at the Q Cinema DGPI pitch. Let's all welcome Pamela Reyes.
Hi guys! Thank you for having me again sa PPP. Very exciting yung topic today and I'm honored to be joined and to join this group of women filmmakers.
Okay, next panelist we have Riya Limia. Born in 1976, Riya is a writer and producer based in Manila. She graduated with a degree in psychology from the Ateneo de Manila University in 1998. After various stints in publishing and fashion, she found herself working in film as a writer in 2005. A decade later, she spearheaded the marketing campaign for General Luna, one of the highest grossing independent films in the Philippines. She produced and co-wrote Raya Martin's film adaptation of the award-winning crime novel Smaller and Smaller Circle, which had its world premiere at the 22nd Busan International Film Festival and was released theatrically in the Philippines in December 2017. Ria is currently developing a film based on a short story by national artist for literature F. Chanel Jose. Let's welcome Ria. Hi, Ria.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Very excited to be here to talk about this important topic in film, women working in film. And also, I'd like to thank the FDCP for inviting me to join tonight.
Okay, certainly but not the least is Miss Lee Briones Mealy. Miss Lee is a filmmaker who has worked in photography, advertising, films, documentaries, content, and TV for the last 23 years. She continually collaborates as a director of photography with her directors and teaches and mentors aspiring cinematographers. She's the chief motivator of Simple Truth Prods and one of the founders of Storytellers, a documentary production house. Aside from that, she advocates healing and bakes. She hopes to create a healing center and is a Reiki practitioner. Let's all welcome Miss Lee Briones Mealy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be part of this panel, and hopefully, I'll be able to share and inspire the new filmmakers and the future filmmakers. That's it.
Thank you so much. So, let's start. Thank you for your time, our dear panelists, and I'll throw my first question. What's been your overall experience as a woman in this industry, and can you tell us your biggest obstacles that you face working in our film industry? So siguro we can start with you, Tara.
Uh,
Also share
uh,
as an owner of a post house. Can we also get parang your insights?
I would like to say I think my whole career was medyo strategize ko talaga siya. Um, because I didn't want to waste my time, you know. And again, you know,
Yeah.
can I proceed or should I address the FD?
Okay, go on.
Okay na? Okay.
Yes.
So, I decided na I if we made a post house, I would have more freedom to do what I want. But before we did that, medyo I made sure na dapat meron akong substantial filmography to back it up because we had to be self-sustaining. Film kasi, film kasi you're relying on other people's money. So I felt na I have to be like stable. There should be something that would be feeding me so that I can continue my dreams. So medyo, ano ba? Yun yung struggle ko. I think that if things don't happen for me through the generosity of others, I have to have my own capacity to make my own dreams come true. Parang ganon. So, medyo, so yun. So, maybe short of saying na hindi rin siya ganun kadali. But hindi ko naman yung goals ko. And I'm happy about it. So, ganun. But I would also like to say na yes, I think it's possible for everyone, even for women especially, to reach those dreams. So yun. Tama ba?
How about you, Ilsa?
Actually, I'm really interested in. Oh, do I also have an echo? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So actually, I'm really interested in Tara's answer kasi parang I find that I relate to a lot of what she said, especially because I'm an editor also. Parang we're on the craftsman side of the job, which means we're really reliant on what content there is out there that's geared towards women, written for women, written by women. Parang it's so rare for us to get to choose projects that reflect actually our point of view. So it's a conscious decision. Like for me, my main obstacle was really starting because I think when you're young and female, parang that's where the difficulty in navigating and being received into the industry begins because you don't know yet your voice. So parang for me, it really took a while before I consciously chose projects that I felt reflected my own point of view. And somehow, I think that kind of work attracts that other kind of work also. Na parang once you start doing things that are more personal and reflect your vision, you find that the industry is very receptive, and then like-minded people come together and come to you and seek you out to collaborate with. So yun yung, parang for me, the obstacle was parang even more granular na parang not just being a woman, but being young. That's also part of it. Like getting your foothold and then looking for who could be your mentor. So parang in my case, I'm incredibly lucky kasi I remember also, which feels so long ago na going into a post house and seeing halimbawa Miss Tara, and then Miss Tara being consciously like checking up on me. Kasi naalala ko yun na parang I so remember a time na you said, "Oh, uwi ka na ba?" Tas I was going to another post house. Yung naglalagari ka kasi parang dalawa yung or tatlo yung ginagawa mo for that period. And yung worry sa face mo, parang, hindi ka pa uuwi. May pupuntahan ka pa pagkatapos nito kung magtatrabaho ka pa. So parang yun for me, like, always a matter of seeking other women also.
Which is very important, no? Kasi nga, kukonti tayo sa talk more later about sinabi nga ni sa mentorship. How about you? Siguro, if you can also give your insights dun sa sinabi ni Ilsa na not just women, but parang being a young and woman producer and director.
I guess in my experience, I've constantly tried to prove myself kasi I started very early and I wasn't even in film. I wasn't a filmmaker, I was a graphic designer, I was an artist. I also used to work in advertising. So, getting into the film industry was difficult in itself na nga, but also as a young woman filmmaker, trying to navigate my way because I didn't came from a film school, wala akong mentor. I learned everything on my own and I was constantly trying to prove myself. But not just trying to prove myself, even up until this point in my career. Sorry, okay ba yung internet ko? Yeah, ayun. So, not just the age, but also I think as filmmakers in this industry, hindi naman frowned upon, but ang hirap kasi when you're very feminine. Like me, I'm a very feminine type of girl. So, in this type of position, ang hirap, parang you're judged just because you're feminine. Not parang kailangan you're some sort of archetype to take on this role. And I think I want to challenge that archetype na you can navigate your way through the industry by being who you are and hindi kailangan you fit in a certain mold. And for me, the constant challenge up until today is, you know, trying, ito weird to eh, this is very minor. But I feel as women, we constantly keep saying sorry. We keep saying sorry for things na dapat hindi tayo mag-sorry. And I feel that even now at this point in my career, I still have to say sorry because sometimes you're texting, you're emailing, and it comes across as wrong. You post something, it comes across as wrong. and you're constantly trying to check yourself. When I feel sometimes if you're male, you wouldn't think about the external factors. So what will think people think about this or that? So ang daming challenges as a woman kasi I think you're judged more than other gender, and I think you have to work extra hard, in my opinion, than males. Kasi we have to constantly prove ourselves. And yun, that's it.
Thank you for that, Pam. Um, for Ria and Miss Igor, you can also share, um, now that parang we are somehow in that older generation, parang share then how you started, how we started, ganyan. Like you, Ria, di ba? Parang psychology major and then going to film. Paano, malaki
Yeah,
eh.
it was funny because I had no inkling that I would get into film. Absolutely none. I got into it organically. I had a bunch of friends who were making a film and they needed a writer, and I had always been writing. So I think my background as a writer is what propelled me into it. Um, and then I started writing, and then I started getting into it. My first job on set was continuity, and it was the hardest thing I had ever done. And I never want to do it again. That's why now I'm a producer. But I don't I don't think it's so much about being a woman working in film. I consider myself very lucky to be alive in this day and age where women are sort of given equal opportunity. It may be that there are more males working in film than women, but I find that's changing. I mean, it's not the 1960s anymore. No, so it's not like you're judged because you're a woman, or it's nothing like that. It's more of, I guess, being an outsider. You have to find your way. You have to find the right people to work with, and you also have to, as Ilsa said, really find your voice. So I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. Miss Lee, can you also share yung experience nyo? 23 years working in this film industry.
Um, well, it wasn't easy when I started. I started as a photographer, and I remember very distinctly that when I was sent out to take some photographs with my best friend, who's also a woman photographer, the client actually complained and said, "Why did you send women photographers?" And I thought we were going, they will send us home, but I think the prints that came out that day proved that it was all right to have women photographers, because we ended up finishing the project for the next 2 or 3 years. So it's like what Ria said. It's not so much about being a woman. For me, I just wanted to tell stories. So it didn't matter whether I never thought of the being a girl would be a problem. Although although I had some encounters with machismo was very high. I mean, that's we have to live with that, diba? And to coexist with that. So having a set of maintaining your integrity is one thing. And like what Ilsa said, you will find your voice, you stick to it, and be respectful of your co-filmmakers. And the same, everything else will roll out fine. So the 23 years was really a lot of fun for me. It literally behind the camera, working with all kinds of directors, talents. And I realized that connectivity is very important. In telling a story, it's not just the director or the DOP or the producer. The different voices that will make the film whole is very, very important. From the writer down to the person who will serve you coffee while you're editing is important. So it was keeping this curiosity inside me that I think fueled everything else. And my love for making, for telling stories propelled me to have these small companies, diba? I have Simple Truth, and it's a production house that we try to we try to produce content that would be meaningful. And same with the documentary production house, Storytellers, that I have with Cara Alikpala and Janet Ifurong. This is the voice. I found my voice there, to tell stories that that resonates for everybody, that makes filmmaking and making content universal. So, yun, I'd like filmmaking and storytelling to be, for me, it's also healing, especially at times like this, new stories will come. We don't know what we're going to tell, diba? Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. And I'm very hopeful that new stories will come. New filmmakers will find new ways of telling stories. So if we keep our curiosity, we will find ways to tell stories in a different way in this new life that's coming. So yun, that's how I see it.
Good.
May
Miss
Ilsa?
I
Ilsa?
just, yeah, may I just say something? Kasi parang, I was really struck by the idea that a client would voice that out loud, na parang why get female photographers. But kasi just because parang feeling ko lang na block ko in my mind na, oh, it's 2020 already. Surely clients know na women can do creative jobs just as
Mm-hmm.
well as men can. But I do remember something happening to me a long time ago. Like siguro at the beginning of my career, I was editing what just happened to be an action film. Tapos parang the director casually asked, parang, sino yung umupo na creative sa'yo? Kasi parang meron siyang client for that particular action film. A streaming service was the client for that action film. Tapos parang, meron pong pumunta pero babae. Hindi ko alam kung bakit ko siya nakwento. Parang, or tinanong ba niya kung babae or lalaki. And then the director asked, bakit babae yung pinadala nila? Action film to. Tapos parang I guess I just blocked it out of my mind that actually happened to me. And that while I was doing it, I was thinking, but I'm your editor and I'm also a woman. And I'm the one cutting your film. So parang, why is it so unbelievable? It's the machismo remains.
Um, go ahead, Cara.
Actually, Miss Lee, parang hindi ko rin yan na-notice before na there's an issue about gender or whatever until I became a director. And it became so apparent to me na among the 10 entries, there were only 2 female directors. And then the year before, parang isa, and then the year before that, dalawa. So parang madami nang dalawa. So parang that's when I became aware na it's really a ratio thing. Ang liit talaga ng women. And for being more than half of the population yung women, no, parang palagi kang nagtatanong, bakit ganun? Bakit kahit na, yes, we are present. We are ever present. It's not much of an issue as compared to other countries. Pero kung titingnan mo rin, kalahati naman tayo ng mundo, bakit hindi half-half? Parang ganun. So, for me, as a filmmaker, mas gusto ko na dumami pa yung babae. Kasi I think madami din tayong yun lang, yung voice. I just wish na more women would find their voices. So yun, na hindi naman tayo nakakahon na dapat drama lang or dapat hindi action. Yung ganun.
Mm-hmm.
We go beyond those.
I think my next question would it's clear that we all want to tell stories. We want to strengthen our voice as a filmmaker. Can you share best practices or yung conscious decision nyo so that we can improve women representation in the industry? Like conscious decision to somehow like hire more women or yung mga ganitong best practices na na-experience nyo na so that our audience can pick up all these ideas.
Sino una? Ako ulit.
Go. Go for it.
Ako ulit. Okay. I'd have to admit wala akong conscious na ginagawa to help women, no. But I think meron akong conscious na ginagawa as a human being na because siguro na nakarami na rin naman ako, I try my best to be um, to be to be kinder about what I say to people who are starting off. Kasi parang sa film kasi it's so easy to say negative. Parang ang dali maka-discourage. Because I've felt that before. Like there was one person who told me I don't know how to write. And it stuck with me for a long, long time. Parang, so bakit nanalo ako if I don't know how to write? Parang ganon, parang naging ko siyang crutch. Parang naging ko siyang, it, it, it dragged me down for a while. Not naman forever, pero parang, ang lakas ng impact niya sa akin. For a while, I believed it, yung sinabi niya. So parang gusto ko na hindi ako magsabi ng ganon. Na hindi ko sasabihin yan. So, wala man siguro akong ginagawang conscious to help women. I think but that's my conscious decision to help young filmmakers in general na to be kinder about the things you say. So, hindi naman sila ma-discourage kasi hindi siya madali. Hindi siya madaling struggle talaga. So, yun.
For me, meron akong conscious decisions talaga. In terms of parang what projects I accept. Which is, I know it's parang, first of all, parang already that means I'm speaking from a position of privilege kasi nag-filter ako, ganon. But something I noticed in the scripts I was getting, parang there are certain plot points that male scriptwriters tend to assign to women. So parang in those instances, I ask why. And I ask parang, is there more thorough exploration that's going to happen of that? For instance, parang mental illness as a development. Just because parang feeling ko ang dalas kong makakuha ng ganong script. Parang, oh no, I'm frozen.
Ayan.
Yan. Okay na.
Okay ka na. Okay, Ilsa, you wanna continue? Okay, medyo may technical difficulties lang kay Ilsa. How about you, Pam? Being a producer and a director, may mga conscious decisions ka ba?
Definitely, I have conscious decisions in hiring female talents and filmmakers. And I know a lot of people will say na, oh, dapat kunin mo for the talent. It's not as if the women I chose have no talent at all. I think it's important for women to support each other in this industry kasi since konti nga lang tayo, I think it's important to at least give them the opportunity to prove themselves. Kasi, like, I guess in certain roles in the film industry, konti ang female. Directors, of course, mas maraming males, but konti pa rin ang females. But may mga certain roles na konti, like cinematographers, what else? Editors. And like I've done a few projects na all-female team yung lead, at least yung DOP, yung editor, and all of that. I'm also producing a couple of projects na consciously we're hiring female crew. And even especially when I do talks, I try to encourage a lot of up-and-coming filmmakers. And I think it's important to encourage those people na it's possible. I mean, it's gonna be a bit hard, but it's possible. And I like what Tara said about encouraging and trying to be kind. That's another thing. And Yung nga rin sinabi ko when I have interns and apprentices in my team, I always tell them na this industry is sometimes unkind, but I'm here to guide you and help you, and it's gonna be a fun ride, but yeah, that's it.
Sabi mo nga parang meron kang mga productions na all-female lead and main staff. Can you share ano yung like, may iba ba sa dynamics all because it's an all-female team?
Uh, in terms of dynamics, I don't know, baka observation ko lang to, na trying to be sexist. But, para sa akin, very light lang yung set. Alam mo yun, parang ano lang kami lahat. Hindi mabigat yung set, I feel. At least in my experience. And masaya lang kami lahat. We recently finished din a short na puro female kami nasa woods, but very fun, and wala namang real difference. It's just that I feel it's lighter, and it's always a privilege working with a female crew, the whole crew as female. Yeah.
How about you, Riya?
I think for me, it's not so much best practices as it is really developing stories that are good for women. So it's about, choosing the stories that should be told. Do we need another rape plot, diba? So it sometimes happens that these stories are best told by women also. But I've worked with a lot of male filmmakers and women on the set, and I think it's really about striking a balance. For example, when we shot General Luna, which obviously had a male heavy cast, we made sure that behind the camera there were a lot of women, right? So we had male actors. Obviously, the lead, is a very macho kind of figure. But behind the scenes, a lot of really talented and effective women were running the show. And I think it turned out well because there was that nice balance. And I think it's also about mentorship. I use that term loosely. It's not like I'm a mentor. I can't claim that. But if I find myself surrounded with a team of young and passionate people, and I think they're in it, their whole hearts are in it. Parang you want to be there with them all throughout, right? Sometimes you have to tell them things that they might not want to hear, but it's part of the job, diba? It's just really how you relate and how you relate with these people. So.
Ganda nun. Syempre, hindi lang parang like you encourage them, you also teach them or sometimes correct um, people or younger people para din, alam mo yun, sa growth nila as filmmaker. How about you, Miss Lee? May mama share ka bang like best practices na na-experience mo so far?
I'm with Tara in saying that, well, since I work with the camera, diba? In fact, even my dad was saying that your job is a man's job. And I said, well, yes, but no, at the same time. It's possible, if you set your mind to doing something and you really work hard for it, it's possible. And that's what I've been telling my students, the people I work with. Now, behind the camera, yes, I have to admit that there are mostly men working. I work with men most of the time because I need their strength, their physical strength. But also, I realize that it's a very intricate and fine line. It's a fine balance of doing things together. You know, my production people are mostly women, and thank God, it's. I think there are two. The men and women have, we have certain beliefs and capabilities that we can merge and make it work. Parang ganon. So at one point, it doesn't really matter whether it's a man or a woman who's going to do it. So if you're behind the camera, most of the time, I'm faced with challenges on how to problem solving, mostly ang cinematography. You physically and visually have to translate the stories that have been written, and they will all look up to you with things like, when do we shoot, when's the best time to shoot, diba? How do we rig this, how do we put these things together? And yes, I will admit, I need the muscles to do it. And I'm saying that men doesn't have the brains to, to think about all of these things. But the women on the other side, the production people, like my technical PA is a girl, is a very pretty girl, and it works. Guys follow them. I mean, totoo yun, di ba? That's one of the advantages, di ba? They tend to follow someone that they believe in, or they believe in and they like. So it's a harmonious, very harmonious way of doing things behind the scenes. Kasi it's not easy. It's not easy. When it rains, they look to you and will ask you, can we shoot or can we not shoot? Decisions like that, diba? If there's a pimple on the talent's face, how do we do this, diba? Will you light it? Will editing help? And right there and then, you'll have to do some problem solvings. So I'm with Tara, going back and saying that my hope really for the future, and what I'm trying to practice, is kindness in production. That was the main goal of my production house. Kindness in production, because it's a thankless, it could be a thankless industry. And believe me, I've seen crew, people down, crowd, these people that really, really matter, pero hindi sila napapansin. They are important. We will not be able to finish our films without them. Also, I'm grateful for women producers. I will have to say this, di ba? I think yung pagka-intuitive ng mga babaeng producers really help in production, di ba? They know how to talk to people. They produce us, they have this certain calm na that will make you feel secure, and will make everyone in the set feel that, yes, we will be able to do this. So, ayun, I'd like sana to see women gaffers, women crew in the future can really carry heavy stuff. And well, right now we are using smaller lights, smaller cameras, so I think that's very possible. Yung experience ni Pamela, diba? I have a couple of shoots na puro babae, diba? They want a female director, female DOP. So nakakatuwa yun. So I see a future that's very promising for women. Yun.
That's very good to hear. May encourage yung mga young filmmakers na nanonood sa atin ngayon na, di ba, may mga advantages being women in this industry. But on that note, let's get this question from the audience. In the US, the Me Too and feminist movement is being championed, especially by their film industry. Do you think such a thing could also reach the Philippine film industry? So, who wants to start? So, tama na may times na pag puro babae, susundin, or magagamit yung charms pag nakikipag-usap sa mga, like, ayan, nakamute ako.
No, you're good now.
Okay. So yun nga, parang as mentioned by Miss Lee, may mga times na pag yung technical PA, yung mga crew, pag babae yung kausap, pag nag-negotiate, maganda yung results. But to some extent, parang, di ba, meron ding bad things na nangyayari sa, or na-abuse ang mga women crew or staff natin. Ilsa, you wanna say something?
This is just coming from an editor's perspective. Kasi parang, na, like Miss Lee din, parang nasa craft side tayo. So parang, I think in terms of improving the workplace for women, I would say part of it is good planning. Kasi parang in the recent past, I had an experience speaking with a fellow female editor who told me think twice about having children if you want to stay an editor. So parang I was thinking to myself, that seems very like self-evident advice. Pero gusto ko siyang i-interrogate na why. Why did she say this to me? Or why did she say this in general? Tapos parang na-realize ko, the context was because at that time we were being offered a film to edit. But the timetable was so short. So what that entails, and by short I mean in our org, nagpa-survey kami, the shortest timetables that we've all commonly experienced is 2 weeks to edit a full feature. And what that entails, if you're a woman, is that the production is asking you to drop everything in your life. And for 2 weeks, para matapos mo siya, raratsyada ka talaga. So that brings the question, do you not fit in if you want to become a mom? Or if you are currently a mom, tapos craftsman ka, ganon. I think one way na very practical that we can all practice in this industry is to think about how women can be represented in in the staff of a film. And for post, yung proper planning of the post timetable really helps women participate in the film. Especially at that time, the reason why we were being offered that film was because they said they really wanted a woman's voice in that film. But then what happened was, of course, the editor, who is a mom, self-selected herself out of the running for that job. Kasi nga, hindi niya kaya yung 2 weeks na parang tatapusin mo siya, and at the expense of what the other things you need to do as a parent. So that's one way, and it's very practical and something we can easily put into practice now.
Ako, may sabihin ako. Can you is this about the Me Too movement, the question, no? Sorry, parang jittery yung internet ko. Okay lang. Yeah, so I think in terms of the Me Too movement, and ako personally, I'm hoping it has to happen in the Philippines. And ako, from my perspective as a producer, there's a lot of things na elephant in the room, things that we don't really discuss, like sexual harassment and the small comments you get. Especially as producers, we have meetings with powerful males, and sometimes it comes across as you're asking for something else. And I think we're very vulnerable, and not just me. I know a lot. I'm not gonna mention any names. I know a lot of women actors who are very vulnerable, who have experienced not like very bad experiences with certain people in power. So ako personally, to anyone who's watching this, I really hope and I really encourage you to speak out. Kasi it's usually women are scared to speak out. Kasi they're scared na mawalan sila ng work. They're scared of the stigma. They're scared na, walan sila ng career. And I think there's a lot of women are just waiting for that one person to speak out. And yeah, I really highly encourage you, anyone who's watching this, I really hope it does happen, because it happens. I know this for a fact.
Hindi lang yung sa mawawalan ka ng career, but feeling ko parang may extra scrutiny kasi if you're a woman who speaks out, halimbawa, out of because of like you experience something and you want to bring it up, you want to bring it to light. What happens
Mm-hmm.
then is that there's scrutiny on your character. Parang people
Yes.
will like review your ano yung past nitong babaeng to. Did she deserve that treatment or will we believe her? So parang yun din yung burden of
Yeah.
yeah, it's really
And you have to
difficult.
prove yourself. It's as if you're lying to get some attention.
Oh, Miss Lee, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go. Follow Ria. After you.
I think, thank you. I think what's important is that we need to have systems in place.
Yes.
There has to be like a protocol. It can't just be, um, you know, you get harassed or you know of another woman who gets harassed and then they tell you, but it's in confidence because you're friends, and then it ends there. And worse, people, as Ilsa said, will maybe question your character and then gossip starts and all these things. So really, I think um, the the most important thing is to have like a real way of reporting it. If there is an incident, report it. Speak, as Pam said, you need to speak up, right? And you speak up in an official manner. So, whether or not people question your character because you got sexually harassed, the fact that you made a stand about it and you reported it officially, I think says a lot. And this is something that we really have to consider and put in place because as far as I
Yes.
know, it's not yet in place. And I have heard of a case where I think it was a meeting, a production meeting, and there was a very sort of offensive um, comment made by someone in power. No, but the girl couldn't even. Parang she just let it pass, which I think is that should never happen because then we're just sort of you know saying it's okay, right? And it's not. So yun.
Miss Lee?
Yeah. I'd like to add lang to what Ilsa mentioned, di ba? I want to share something about motherhood. Uh, I have 4 children, and it's possible, Ilsa. It's possible to raise children, to have them, to shoot while you're pregnant. It's very possible. It's really putting things in perspective and planning. So, um, if they know that if you're, I I was shooting a film after I gave birth, and I was able to negotiate, and they respected it that I need to stop and gather milk for my baby, and yun, things like that we have to make them aware. People are not aware of these things eh. Parang sa bahay ka lang dapat after ka manganak, or uh, hindi ka pwedeng mag-work. Or hindi ka pwedeng mag-work sa film industry kasi you have to raise children. It's possible. It's really possible. It takes a lot of planning and, well, a lot of help from your relatives, from your husband. Pero pwede siya. So if you're brave enough to say that, hey, I will give you what you want. I will deliver my job. But at the same time, you have to let me do the things that I have to do as a mother as well. So, a wholehearted life is very possible. Nasa sa atin yon. And knowing what to say and how to say it. Yun nga, like what Miss Rhea said, uh, there should be a protocol for these things. And I could see na nangyayari na siya very soon. There are some cinematographers who are having children at the moment. So, nakakatuwa. Yun.
Tara, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll add lang to what we said. that's why we have to have safe spaces inside groups or guilds, and because it would give us more courage to speak out if something happens, and we know that group
Yes.
will be looking out for us, for
Mhm.
our interest. So I think when merong iba kasi na very introvert like me, I'm very introverted. I think na kung merong mga ganung grupo that exist dun sa line of work natin, let's try to join them. Kasi parang give and take na. So pag meron mang mangyari na not so savory, parang you know that you can always count on yung strength that the group gives you. So yun. Yun.
I think isang result yon ng pandemic or nitong lockdown natin. As in, na-organize talaga ang different groups, nagka-form ng mga, di ba, guilds. And
Mhm.
we can convert these to our own support group na hindi lang like, yun nga, parang mentorship, but also kung merong mga kailangan i-report, kailangan pakinggan, then we can support all these colleagues within our group. And tama nga si Ria na parang dapat merong magkaroon na ng structure how to report such incidents. Okay. Grabe yung ano no, yung diversity ng topics natin. Kulang yung 1 hour para sa lahat ng to. I guess for our last question, since we're running out of time, what would be your message or advice to the young filmmakers out there who want to be an editor, who want to be a producer, writer, cinematographer? Ano yung masasabi natin sa kanila to encourage them to continue in this line of business?
Yun.
O, ikaw ulit, Tara.
Ako ulit? Paano ba? I think give it your best shot. Parang, paano ba? Meron na kasing existing bias. Medyo merong existing bias against women. So parang, it's like what my gay friends say. Medyo hindi rin siya tama, pero sinasabi na lagi na, bakla ka na nga, kaya dapat magaling ka. Parang ganun sinasabi niya. So parang ganun din feeling ko for women. Hindi ako nagsabi no na it was my gay friend. So para sa kanya, he has to be the best that he can. Kasi meron ng existing bias eh. So ganun din sa mga babae. Parang meron na tayong handicap, kumbaga sa golf. So parang kailangan, you have to be the best para pakinggan ka. And then pag nandun ka na, pull other women up. Parang ganun. Let's help each other.
Mm.
So,
Thank you, Tara.
Ako
Who
siguro,
wants go,
ano,
Ilsa?
what's been most helpful to me is to seek like-minded people. So they don't have to be women, but they definitely have to be people who support women. And also parang, ako kasi I've made some really untraditional choices in my work. Parang having those people cheer me on despite the ano their like bucking tradition, that really helped me keep my eye on the prize na parang ano ba talaga yung gusto kong gawin. Of course, it's difficult kasi like I said before, when you're just getting a foothold, wala ka naman talagang ability to choose. But then seeking out people who've been there before will really help you see what your next steps could look like. So yun, to the young filmmakers here, we're so proud of you, yung mga nag-direct for Cinemaria. I really enjoyed working with them. Don't be afraid to seek us out and to ask us questions or collaborate with us. We're just here.
Wow, that's very heartwarming, Ilsa. Um, okay, Pam, you want to give your message to the young women filmmakers out there?
Sorry, nakamute ako. Para sa akin, regardless of the gender din, if you want to enter the film industry, you have to want it more than others. Because a lot of people are really, parang daming tao sa industry na to. But I really like what Tara said and Ilsa said about pulling women up, helping other women, and finding like-minded people. But for me, um, sometimes when you make a film like for the Sina Maria, since minentor namin sila, uh, when you get criticisms, take criticisms. When you meet people na yun nga, like-minded, it's okay to ask for help. Yun nga, ang motto ko in life is, if you never ask, the answer will always be no. So always ask for help. At the same time, if you feel na this a certain film you made is hindi ka happy sa film na nagawa mo, it's okay to make another one. And I think in the film industry, it's important that you continue making films. You don't just stop making one film because nagkaroon ng bad reviews or other people didn't like it. It's important that you make another one and just continue making films regardless of what other people say. And sometimes you don't need a big professional team. Sometimes you just need the friends who support you and believe in you. Yeah.
Thank you, Pam. Ria, can you share your
Yeah,
advice to filmmakers?
to the young filmmakers out there, I think be smart, equip yourself, read, watch, expose yourself to cinema. Find the right people to surround yourself with and collaborate with. Have courage because working in film is hard and nothing will be handed to you just like that. So, whether you're a man or a woman or whatever, you have to really, really want it. You know, that's it. Good luck.
Thank you. Miss Lee,
To the young filmmakers, the first thing I'd like to share with you is to always come from your place of truth. That's the only way. If you stand for who you are, then the voice will come. And then find a mentor. A mentor is very important to guide you, uh, to play devil's advocate, to be there, may kabatuhan kayo. And the last thing I'd like to share is don't take yourself so seriously. If you come from your place of truth, then your output is who you are. Diba? No-brainer yon. Diba? Who you are as a person will come out from the films that you will make. So whether you're a woman or a man or yun nga, kahit ano ka pa, kung sa totoo ka nang gagaling, then it will come out really well. There. Yun lang.
thank you so much. Ang dami kong takeaway sa lahat ng mga na-share ninyo. Like yung mga words lang na be kind, let's pull other women up, surround yourself with like-minded people, yung mentors na very important because sabi nga ni Miss Lee, hindi lang yung lagi nag-agree sa'yo but to play devil's advocate kasi importante din yun na somehow na-challenge yung mga ideas or yung mga decisions natin sa life, not just sa career. I guess for the young girls out there, more than being a filmmaker, let's not forget that we are women, we are human beings, and dun magsisimula yung finding who you are, finding your voice, which projects to choose, sino yung mga makakatrabaho natin. Again, thank you sa ating mga panelists tonight. such an inspiring and enriching discussion. Sayang at kulang yung oras natin, but thank you so much. We hope we can get to talk more sa outside world. And again, sa mga filmmakers out there, we're just here for you. Just approach us, and we can collaborate. We can like give you advice. Nandito lang kami. Again, it's important to have like yun nga, people that would guide you or support you. Thank you so much. May mga ibang talks pa yung FDCP, so please avail.
Again, we would like to thank our panel for today's talk. Miss Tara, Miss Ilsa, Miss Pamela, Miss Riya, Miss Lee, and our moderator, Miss Army. This talk surely inspired women to take their journey in the world of filmmaking. We would also like to thank our audience for joining us here today. We hope you enjoyed and learned a thing or two from the wide experiences of our panelists, and we hope to see you in our next sessions. You can watch women-themed films in this year's Cinemaria Short Film Festival from October 31 to December 13 in the Short Film Showcase of the Pista ng Pelikulang Pilipino 2020 via video on demand at the FDCP channel at fdcpchannel.ph. For more details on this, you can also visit our Facebook pages at Film Development Council of the Philippines and Pista ng Pelikulang Pilipino. Thank you everyone, and this is Pista ng Pelikulang Pilipino 2020, Sama All!
For more details on PPP, please check our social media accounts. Facebook page, www.facebook.com/FDCPPPP. Twitter at FDCP_PPP. And Instagram at Pistang Pelikulang Pilipino.